Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you guys are here. I actually just finished editing this video and realized I did not have an intro or an outro for it. So you're gonna see me like this at the beginning and then you're gonna see me like this at the very end. Today's video is very exciting because I am reading a very highly anticipated new release for me. And I know for a lot of other people out there too. Like the title says, I'm going to be reading Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, which is the second book in the Empyrean series following Fourth Wing, which is like the global phenomenon. It hit the book world by storm earlier this year. I loved Fourth Wing. I ended up giving that a 5-star. It was just so good. I absolutely loved Violet, absolutely loved Xaden, and everything to do with them. And the whole storyline was just so interesting. So of course, whenever I knew she was coming out with the second one, I pre-ordered it immediately. And we're gonna be unboxing it in just a second. But before we get into this video and I talk about all my thoughts on Iron Flame, I do just want to say, if you have only read Fourth Wing and you have not had the chance to read Iron Flame yet, I want you to stop right there, pause this video, come back after you read Iron Flame, because this video is fully spoiler right after this clip. I'm literally going to be giving away the ending and just everything that happens in the entire book because I'm going to be talking about spoiler plot points. So if you have seen it, then you can come back to it and we can chat about all of our thoughts in the comments down below and get theories and stuff like that going. And a spoiler review only felt right just because of the cliffhanger we get left on in the first one. And I feel like I couldn't really talk about anything to do with the book unless it was a spoilered review. So here's your warning. Please click off the video now if you do not want Iron Flame spoiled for you. Okay. Hey guys, it's November 7th, a very exciting day in the book world. I have a very exciting package here with a certain book in particular that I am very excited to unbox. So, let's do it. Guys, oh my gosh. I really didn't think I was gonna get the sprayed edges, I'm not gonna lie. This is so pretty. I am so excited to start this. How many pages is it? 623. Okay, this is sick. Okay, now that we officially have her, let's go ahead and get into it. Going to be the final time I warn you. Spoilers are officially coming like now, and I really don't want this book to be spoiled for you, and I really don't want to be the person that does that, so please click off this video right now if you have not read it yet and you're watching it right now. Anyways, I am on page 96 and this book just kind of picks up right where we left off. Obviously Brennan's alive. She's kind of having a tough time with that because she's like, oh my gosh, my brother's alive, like I'm so excited. But then she's also like, you lied to me that you were dead for 6 years. So she's just not really sure like how she should feel about that. And she's also having a tough time with Xaden, obviously, because he was kind of like withholding the truth from her a lot. And he's right, he didn't really lie, but he did withhold the truth, which is still like a form of lying about the rebellion, about the wyverns, about the venom, about everything going on with that, even about Brennan being alive. Basically the whole thing with the truth, and everybody's kind of talking about this with Violet because of Dane, because he can read her mind with just like a simple touch. She literally can't know those things because if she does, she's putting everybody around her that she cares about in danger, and the rebellion and everything else in danger. So she's starting to now understand why she can't know those things and almost doesn't want to know those things. But it's also hard because like they're in a relationship and should share things together, and they're trying to decide if they send them back to Basquiat or not, because again, they could be compromised just from a touch from Dane and he can know everything that's going on. So they go back and forth because they're literally like, they could kill me on the spot or somehow they could let us live. Ultimately, they end up deciding to go back. And the first thing they do is have a little chat with like all the superiors at Basquiat. One of the superiors, of course, being Violet's mom, which we know is like super cold to her. And then also you have Colonel Atos, who knows all about this. And so they were kind of like, yeah, he sent us somewhere, but also not talking about wyvern and venom and stuff like that. Again, withholding the truth. But Mr. Atos, he's a little pissy man. He has it out for them now because they kind of threw him under the bus, even though it wasn't throwing him under the bus. Like literally he deserved it because he sucks. Xaden and Violet end up running into Colonel Atos at some point, and he literally says to them, secrets make for poor leverage. They die with the people who keep them. Basically insinuating he's going to kill them. And then later they're like sparring for class, like on assessment day. This random first year struts on up and he's like, where's Violet Sorrengail? And then Nadine, this other girl from their squad, was like playing. She was like, I'm Violet Sorrengail, blah, 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 blah. And homie just snaps her neck. She's dead. Literally nobody is safe in these books. Like, I feel like I cannot get attached to any character at all. Like, even Violet sometimes, because I just feel like she could die on a whim. She could die like that. Like, it's actually crazy how terrified sometimes that makes me. Still not over Liam's death, by the way. That, they end up fighting, blah, 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 blah. And then on page 87, he literally whispers to her while they're fighting, secrets die with the people who keep them. Mr. Atos Sr. was trying to get her assassinated. Also, obviously, Xaden just graduated. He was a third year, so he's done. So now he has to go to his assignment, to the war. Since their dragons are mated, they basically have to see each other like every 3-ish days, I think. So we will obviously be seeing Xaden in this book, even though he's not like at the college. And basically, there was like little bits and pieces happening here and there, but most of it was just kind of like getting back into college life, getting back into their classes, a bunch of other stuff, learning what differs from second year to first year. But they also had the new first years walk the parapet. One of those being Sloane, who is Liam's little sister, who Violet promised that she would look after, but Sloane, low-key kind of hates her because she blames Violet for Liam's death. And then another one is very curious. We haven't really seen a lot of him yet or heard a lot about him yet, but basically the king's third son walked the parapet and he made it safe. And he's going by a different name. So obviously he's not supposed to be there. I did just leave off at the part where Xaden and Violet see each other for the first time after he like officially leaves to his assignment, and he doesn't really get to spend too much time with Violet just because he has to like set up some plans and stuff like that and strategize because he's literally like the leader of the rebellion. So they don't have that much time together, but he ends up writing her a letter and I am very excited to read that and kind of get into that. Time for some updates on Iron Flame. Currently on page 256, about to start chapter 28. And as you guys saw from my reactions, things are kind of getting crazy. Apparently everyone who was a part of the group that went to Resin with like Xaden and Violet and Imogen and all them has had assassination attempts. Like, several. Everything just smells so incredibly fishy right now. At the beginning too, obviously, I really thought Colonel Atos was gonna be like the big bad guy, but Sir Varish, like what? Where did he come from? We hate him. He's absolutely the worst. He keeps asking Violet to see Andarna, and she's like, no, because Andarna's like in that dreamless sleep because she's still like a little baby dragon. And it is very well known that like the humans don't control the dragons. So he ends up threatening her. She doesn't bring Andarna because that's just not how that works. And her warning is basically doing like lightning strike practice until she almost like passes out and dies. Yeah, so he absolutely sucks, and it honestly just feels like Atos is getting Varish to do all of his bidding for him, and he's also just like evil and awful, and I hate him so much. I also can't exactly remember what we know about like the things to kill the wyvern and the venom and stuff, but I know we learned in the last book that it's like alloy that's in those little like knives and stuff like that that kill them, and that's made from what makes their warts. So Violet's been doing like a lot of research and been snooping around in the archives and getting Jesinia, who is technically what she would be if she were a scribe. So Jesinia and her are kind of like working together, and she trusts her. She's also known her like forever because they studied together whenever they were younger too. Okay, sorry, I had to make a change because the lighting in there was kind of going down. And I also put on my glasses, which with the headband, I like never wear my hair like this. It literally is embodying me in like 3rd grade. It's bad. Okay. This is something that Violet's kind of been struggling with the whole entire book, is whether or not to tell her friends and if she can trust them and stuff like that. And it's hard because like, it's not even a choice. Like she literally can't tell her friends or else she's putting them in danger, especially with Dane around. So Xaden was like, okay, like you can either like learn how to withhold the truth from them and like them be okay with that, or just be a really good liar, or you gotta distance yourself. So she's really been distancing herself lately, and everybody has been noticing, especially Rhiannon. And then we get to the situation with Dane. We honestly haven't seen him a lot throughout this book, just through like passing glances and stuff like that, but he ends up coming up to Violet. I mean, like, wow, you won't talk to me. And then she walks away from him. And then he forces her, because he's like the wing leader. He went up to Ametrio, which is like the professor that oversees all the battles and stuff, or the sparring. And he was basically like, yeah, like, I want her to fight me. And so they fought in the ring together just so he could talk to her. Dane, why don't you listen to the lady and let her have, I don't know, like, simple human rights? If she doesn't want to talk to you, she doesn't want to talk to you. Stay away. The biggest thing, obviously, that we're worried about with Dane is him getting her memories, and he was basically like, I don't know anything about anything, blah, 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 and like played it off, and like, I don't know, it was just like super weird, and we still have not changed any of our feelings towards Dane to this point. Violet and her squad end up getting taken for another part of RSC. By the way, it's just the second year, so it's just Violet, Rhiannon, Sawyer, and Rhydock. Also, can I just say, Rhydock is so funny. Or is it Rhydock? At this point, a name is a name. You know who I'm talking about. But this is the interrogation portion, so they're really gonna like beat and batter him up. But the biggest thing that happens is Varsh comes in with Dane. Varsh was being like really convincing to Dane, and he was like, you know what? You should read Violet's memories. Like, what do you think about that? Like, you should just do it. He even ended up saying, oh, don't you want to know why she chose Xaden over you? Like, don't you want to know? And then Dane ended up being like, no, I'm not gonna read her memories, and then just like walked out. In battle brief class the next day, everybody has like a pamphlet on their seat, and it says that Zoila, which is basically like the Basgiath of the Gryphons, ended up falling. And then Markham came in, which is like the scribe leader, and he was like, no, this is fake. this is so fake. We also learned that Jack Barlow's come back from the dead. If you remember from the first one, Violet literally killed him with a mountain. She moved mountains to kill him. Yep. So one, how? Two, why? Are they just really thinking he's gonna kill Violet and that's how it's gonna be done? As of my thoughts currently, I totally get why people who almost strictly read romance love these books, and it's because it's literally written like a romance. The way Violet thinks is like a romance character thinks. It's not super crazy to understand. There's not a ton of world building. Nothing is described in like that weird fantasy way either, and nothing is like drawn out too much. It's just very straight and to the point. You only know what you need to know to get what you need to get out of the book to understand it. You don't get every second, every moment, every class of Violet's day of Violet's life, which I really like, and it makes it easier to digest as a fantasy, because a lot of the time fantasy books just be giving me a headache. This one, like, the writing is just so simple and easy, you can just zip right on through it. Brooke, say hi to the vlog. Oh my god, hi vlog. What are you reading?
Oh, I'm reading Better Than the Movies.
Are you liking it?
I'm loving it so far. Yes, I'm on page 105. How are you?
I'm doing okay. You can hear my ambiance in the background. I am currently on page 306 of Iron Flame right now. Okay, it is time for my final update on Iron Flame. I have roughly about 100 pages left, and if you've watched any of my spoiler reading vlogs, you will know that for the last 100 pages, I love just sitting down and filming all of my visceral reactions, if I have any, because sometimes I don't. But most of the time I do if I'm filming like a spoiler reading vlog. So we're gonna be doing that, but let me update you on my thoughts, because I feel like it's been a hot minute, and I've read quite a bit. I picked back up right where Violet decided to finally tell her squad mates, or at least the ones in second year, so Rhydock, Rhiannon, and Sawyer. So now everybody knows about the Venin and the Wyvern and what happened at Resin and all that kind of stuff, which is great because I really enjoy her friendships with them, and so I'm glad that they're going to be in the books more and stuff like that, and she's not really like casting them out anymore. They ended up figuring out too that the first 6 Dragon Riders kept journals, and they're kind of looking for any and all information on the first 6 just because they're the ones who made the wards. There was also another huge assassination attempt, and it was by the infantry, and they were just going after Violet and this girl named Aya. Aya ended up dying. Violet was like this close, but then guess who saved her? Jack Barlow. He literally has not been in this book besides saving her and coming back from the dead. So I'm kind of worried that there's gonna be something going on at the very end in the last 100 pages, something that has to do with somebody she loves dying or something that happens to her. I'm not really sure. Maybe they're trying to just bring him back for like a future book too. I don't know, because I think this is gonna be a 5-book series. I have zero idea what Miss Yaros has planned. Back to the journals plotline. So they end up going down, getting the journals, and then of course Violet ends up getting captured. Varsh sees her with one of the journals and literally beats her bloody for like days. She has no contact to Taryn because she's drinking that like juice, which I don't know if I talked about that yet, but basically during like the interrogation and other RSC things that they were going through, they were drinking a juice that took away their power, so their signet and their power to like channel their dragon and like talk to them, which is actually terrifying. Varsh's biggest thing is he wanted to interrogate her to see what was going on because he wants to know what exactly she knows. So he brings in Dane, of all people, to read her mind. Dane ends up actually reading her mind this time, and the first thing he really says after all of it is, "You should have trusted me, Violet." And then he messes up Varsh. He doesn't end up killing him because Violet ends up killing him. It's only right with all that he's put her through. But basically I kind of believe Dane now. Like, he still did steal her memories at the end of the last book before they went to Resin, but he truly didn't know what was going on. So he's low-key kind of innocent, even though like he's still not the greatest character and he's still not my favorite. They were just gonna leave and go back to Eretia, which is zero idea if I'm saying that right. Eretia, again, who knows? But they were gonna go back, but then Violet was like, no, wait, like, first of all, we need writers. Like, if we leave them here, they're already on the wrong side, but they don't even know the knowledge, so like, it's not fair. So they gave him a choice, and over half of the War College goes with them back to Xaden's family's house, and they basically end up building their own War College there, which is like so cool. And also makes me think, like, how big is Xaden's house? Like, actually, like, it must be massive to house that many people. There was this whole thing with trying to acquire Luminary too. Xaden wouldn't let her go because it was too dangerous, so she ends up taking Brennan and Mira. It was really weird because Xaden was already there, and the whole thing that kind of happens there is she needs to wield her lightning in order for him to want to give them the Luminary, because he likes to collect things and like make deals with people and stuff like that. Another fun fact is that the Viscount that they're kind of like making this deal with is the uncle to Serena and Kat. Serena is like one of the leaders of the Gryphon Riders that Xaden's been dealing the daggers to, and Kat is her younger sister, of which whom Xaden used to date. To sum this up very quickly, Violet is showing off her signet and what appears but a literal venom. She took care of it, everything ended up being fine. The Viscount is lucky that he didn't lose his head, but at the end of the day they end up making a deal for the Luminary. The biggest part of the deal being that they have to take all the Gryphon Riders. Since their version of Basquiat fell, they're taking all of the Gryphon Riders with them back to Eretia, which is wild, but they ended up doing it to make the deal. Kat is one of those Gryphon Riders, by the way, so she comes to the college and she kind of stirs up a little bit of drama. We basically end up learning that there was some sort of agreement that went with accumulating the Luminary last time, in which that Kat and Xaden were not only dating, but they were engaged, and she was supposed to be at his side and have basically like the crown. Like, she was supposed to be like the queen. So there's a lot of stuff going on between her and Violet, and she ends up saying like, girl, like, I don't want Xaden, like, I want the crown. At the end of the day, Violet is the bigger person, and they kind of like squash that. The whole thing that we've been waiting for though is for Violet to finally figure out how to lift the wards, and I'm about to read the part where they actually like lift the wards, and I have a feeling that there's a lot of war and a lot of other stuff coming, so I'm kind of interested to see how this all plays out. At the end of the day, I don't think that I am enjoying this one as much as the first one, which is weird because normally you enjoy the series more as it goes along because you get more connected to the characters and everything, and I still love the characters. And I wouldn't say the book is slow, but it's just the pacing is different than the first one. I mean, I'm not really bored at all. I just feel like it didn't really need to be this long. But also, who knows, maybe there's some things that I read that will play into some stuff in the last few pages, and I obviously will not know my rating or how I fully feel about it until I get to the end. I feel like some stuff's about to go down though for sure, so let's just get right on into my live reactions, if I have any, which I hope I do, or else this next part of the video is going to be very boring for you guys. Probably for me too, because I'm literally the one reading it. Wait, what? Oh my gosh, okay, so much is happening right now. I'm low-key kind of confused. Why did we bring Jack Barlow back again? Poor Brydock. What? Jack is Venom? No words. Oh, that's cool. It's so cute. Okay. Hey guys, it's a few days later. I officially finished Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. One thing I wanted to mention beforehand that I didn't realize on the cover, which is probably because I was reading it without the dust jacket most of the time. I'm gonna get really close to y'all, so don't mind that. But right here represents Andarna because it's like the golden dragon, and then Taryn is right here. At least I think that's what it's supposed to be. That is just so cool and such like a nice touch. I cannot believe I just now realized that. But anyways, you guys just saw my reactions to the very end of this book, and let's just say it did kind of throw me for a loop. I was not expecting a lot of what happened, and obviously the biggest thing that happened the entire time is that Xaden turns Venom. I was just not expecting any of the main characters to really turn Venom. I think too, I was literally talking with my friend Olivia about this. I don't know if I missed this or what, but to turn Venom, do you just choose to like take your power from the ground and not siphon it from your dragon? Like, is it just like a choice? Like, so anybody could turn Venom? I don't know. I'm kind of confused by that, and I would love a little bit more explanation if anybody else knows out there. And how Violet's mom died, that was incredibly insane. Like, this one left off on, I would say, an even bigger cliffhanger than the last one did, just because it is involving one of our main characters so heavily. And obviously they got the wards up and the war kind of just like stopped very abruptly, which was like honestly like fine with me because I know there's gonna be a lot more books with a lot more war going on. There were definitely some plot holes too, and I do have to say I agree with what I said earlier. I don't think that this one is as good in my opinion as Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing was just like non-stop stuff happening all the time, so fast-paced, so into it immediately from the beginning. Not that this one wasn't good. I think that my final rating that I'm kind of sitting with is going to be a 4.25. I just feel like it didn't need to be this long, like I said earlier. And part 2, literally almost nothing happened. It felt like anyways, besides like the war at the very end. They were just kind of going through like day-to-day stuff, and then like obviously like the luminary thing. I feel like those were like the biggest 2 things that happened that entire time. But I feel like part 1, there was a lot of stuff going on, even if they were just going through their day-to-day at Basquiat. Especially because Violet was uncovering, like, what professors knew what was going on, who was withholding the truth, and, like, all that stuff happening with Varish. I kind of missed all that, like, drama during the second part. So I think I am gonna stick with a 4.25 at least for now, which obviously isn't a bad rating, and not every book in a series that I love is going to be a 5-star. She just started off so strong with Fourth Wing. Maybe she was setting up more plot in these ones for like later. I'm not entirely sure obviously because I'm not Miss Yarros, but I still did love it. I'm still very excited to read the rest of the books and the series. I'm sure we'll get a notice of the next one coming out hopefully very soon, because that cliffhanger kind of like has me a little messed up. Another thing too I wanted to mention is that there's just so many characters in these books that they're just like really hard to keep track of who is who. So I really wish she would like put like a little glossary or something like that at the end. Like I kept having to go back and forth to see who is a part of what and like who's higher up, and like I don't know. It was just kind of confusing, especially because you learn about so many characters all at once, and it's not really like people are just like slowly dwindled into the pot. Like it's just like, here's everyone and hope you know them. I'm not really good at catching on to stuff like that, so I just wish we had like a glossary or just like a little bit more explanation on all the other characters too, because I do love the side characters. I just wish the ones that I didn't know as much about, who have like those sneaky little one-liners, I'm like, wait, who are you again? Like, where did you come from? Like, I know your name, but I don't know like what you do in the story, if you know what I'm saying. I think I'm gonna leave it at that though, because this video is probably already way too long and I think I could talk about this book for a very long time. If you guys have any thoughts, any theories, anything like that you want to share it below and we can chat about it all in the comments. I do ask though, please just make sure if it is a spoiler comment talking about something that happens in the book, please note it as like a spoilered comment before you start writing, just so that if somebody clicks on this video on accident who hasn't read it yet, they don't like instantly see a spoiler whenever they click to the comments or something. I'm just so excited to chat about this with you guys and see your guys' thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff if you want to see some more videos from me. I have some pretty exciting things coming in December, so make sure to watch out for that. Anyways, I think that's it. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. Me covering up my stuffed animals.